Assalamu alaikum, my student. Good afternoon. So let's start with this course again, Grammar 2 course. Last time we discussed the issues related to uncountable nouns. We talked about some words that link to uncountable and how we could start with it, like none of, either or, neither nor, and the other words that we could use in the sentences. Today we jump to talk about unit 92. So the last time we discussed unit 89. So be careful about the units, because we skipped unit 90 and 91, and now we are in unit 92. So study this example situation. Last week we had party and a lot of people came. Everybody enjoyed it. So the word here, if we need to change it again to reword the sentence or restructure it, everybody who came to the party enjoyed it. So relative, it closes. So it closes with who, that, which. In your schools previously, you had been into these lessons for longer years, but today we have to remind you with better examples. How? Like here we have two sentences, but in the following one we just mix it or make a mixture of two sentences into one sentence, and that's how we call this one relative clause. So we put who and we followed it by came to the party. You can look here at the sentence. Last week we had a party and a lot of people came. Everybody enjoyed it, so I say everybody who came to the party enjoyed it into one sentence. So relative clause tells us about, or tell us which person or thing, or what kind of person or thing the speaker means. The woman who lives next door to me. Who lives next door to me tells us which woman, or people who complain all the time. Who complain all the time tells us what kind of people. So let's look at the examples here. The woman who lives next door to me is a doctor. I don't like people who complain all the time. Okay, great. What was the name of the person who called? Do you know anyone who wants to buy a car? So in these relative clauses we can recognize that who linked to people, not things. That's the point of A. And at the end we need to remember that for people but not which. The woman that lives next door to me is a doctor, not woman which. So we have to understand that who and that for people. Okay, that and which, not who. So we are talking about that and which. I don't like stories that have unhappy endings, or stories which have unhappy endings. Okay, fine. So we can understand that and which in the same function, and sometime you must use which. We'll discuss it in unit 95 later on. We still in unit 92. So in relative clauses we use who, that, which, not he, she, they, it. Okay, see here. I met a Canadian woman who is an English teacher. one sentence. But if you look at the first one, which is two sentences, I met a Canadian woman at the party. She is an English teacher. So I met a Canadian woman who is an English teacher. No need to say at the party, it's not important. I can't find the keys. They were on the table. Where are the keys that were on the table? What? The things that. Compare what and that. What happened was my fault. So everything that happened was my fault. That's the point that we are looking for here. How to understand the issue related to using that and which. So last one, where are the keys that were on the table? So where are the keys? Not where are the keys they were, that were in the table. Last one, compare what and that. What happened was my fault. يعني الذي حصل كان خطأي. The thing that happened also same. Everything that happened was my fault. Not everything what happened. The machine that broke down is now working again. Not the machine what broke down. So this is from the meaning. No need to think a lot about it, because we could understand that the meaning will be wrong if we use what. Okay, the exercise, you can think about exercise. An architect is someone who designs buildings. You can rewrite again about customer, burglar, coward, tenant. You check out these words and find how you can reformulate and organize a sentence. You can also check last one. You have to check the sentences whether it's right or wrong. So if it's right, you will say okay, and if it's wrong, you will try to rechange it. Like here, I don't like stories who have unhappy endings. So you cannot say who. We can use that have that because it's already here about things. Stories is about things. So relatively close number 2, unit. If we talk about unit here, 93. Let's look at relatively close who and that and which and with and without. So here, the woman lives next door to me. And here, where are the keys that were on the table? The keys were on the table. That here is the subject. So the first point here, who, that, which is a subject of the relative clause. You cannot leave out in these examples. It means here you have to discuss or to put relative clauses to refer to the subject. So the woman has who, the keys that, or which. So both which or that, it's okay. Number 2 here, we have to think about the object. So the first point is about subject, here the object of the verb. The woman who I wanted to see was away on holiday. So who is referring to the last or to the object. I wanted to see the woman. So who here is an object. That's what I need. Do you find the keys that you lost? When who, that, which is the object, you can leave it out. So you can say the woman I wanted to see was away. The woman who I wanted to see. So did you find the keys you lost? The keys that you lost. Here the point. Think about the whole meaning. So the woman who I wanted to see was away on holiday. So here the referring point is about the object. How we refer it back, like I wanted to see the woman. I wanted to see a woman. And here you lost the key. So the key here is object, subject, verb, object, and here subject, verb, object. So if it's about object, you will see how it's already written in these examples. So the keys you lost, not the keys you lost them. Okay, let's move to position or preposition. Tom is talking to a woman. Do you know her? Do you know the woman Tom is talking to? So in final exam, that maybe you will find how to mix two sentences in relative clauses. So you need to understand Tom is talking to a woman. Do you know her? So you have to try to re-switch, like, do you know the woman? So here it's referring to a woman. Do you know the woman Tom is talking to? Do you know the woman? So here is a woman. You cannot say, do you know a woman Tom is talking to? So Tom is talking to is the last in the question. I slept in a bed. It was uncomfortable. The bed I slept in wasn't comfortable. Great. So this is the way, or the bed that I slept in wasn't comfortable. Depends on the way of your writing. Both are correct. Okay, last we have here D. Let's look at D. Everything they or that they said was true. Not everything what they said. I gave her all the money that I had, not all the money what I had. What they said was true. So this is from the meaning we can understand it is okay. So you can answer question number 2. It's very important for you to complete each sentence. How to complete? By understanding the full sentence and then continue with your own words. And then you have to answer question number 3. It's very also important. Question number 3, unit 93, page 187. Page 187. So let's move to the last one. So in the last one here we have unit 94, relative clauses 3, whose, whom, where. Whose للملكية. Whose, when we were driving home we saw some people standing by the road. Their car had broken down, so we stopped to help them. We helped some people whose car had broken down. So when you help some people, it means here you are trying to describe a situation and belong the responsibility to yourself, like we helped some people whose car had broken. Originally I didn't know those people, because whose car, it referred to the driver or people in the car, and in fact I have no idea about them. So their car had broken down. We understand that when you help someone whose car had broken down, it means their car is not working anymore. We use whose mostly for people. A widow is a woman whose husband, or a widow. A widow is a woman whose husband is dead. Her husband is dead. I met someone whose brother I went to school with. So whose for people. Who and who, compare with who and whose. I met a man who knows you. I met a man whose sister knows you. So the sister here belongs to the relativity or something of kinship. It's related or relevant to the word man. So man here may be me, maybe you, maybe another person, but whose sister? It means man, let's say me, has a sister and my sister knows you. Okay. Do not confuse whose and who is. This is with like contraction, and this is who's very original. I have a friend who's learning Arabic language or Arabic. So who is? This is who is, or who has. Whether is or has, we use contraction with s. Like we have apostrophe. This is called apostrophe above the s, and then we continue. Okay, we have whom and where, B and C. So if you talk about whom, like we need to understand that the point is about the possibility of gaining something. So whom always about instead of who, and it's related to object of the verb. Like George is the person whom I admire very much. So whom I admire, it means الذي يعني هو الشخص الذي أحترمه. So I can't say George is the person who I admire, because you are talking about the same person, so you cannot say who, you have to say whom. So you can use whom or preposition plus whom, to whom, from whom, with whom. Like it's important to have friends with whom you can relax. With whom, it means with them. Whom is formal word, and we do not often use it in spoken English. We usually prefer to say person I admire a lot, person who that admire or I admire a lot. Friends you can relax with, friends who that you can relax with. So be careful about using who, and here whom it's a formal word, so it means it used mostly for the writing, maybe writing something. It's not easy to pronounce it in our conversation. Where, we use where in a relative clause to talk about place. I recently went back to the town where I grew up. The restaurant where we had lunch was near the airport. I would like to live in a place where there is plenty of sunshine. So here, from our understanding, we have to put where. Okay, so this point is not important for the exam, but it's important for the conversation. Keep it in your mind. D, the day, the time, the reason. We say the day we got married, the year I was born, the last time they met. I can't meet you, or I can't meet you on Friday. That's the day I'm going away. The last time I saw her, she looked great. You can also use that, the last time that I saw her. We say the reason I'm calling you, the reason she didn't get the job, the reason I'm calling you is to ask your advice. You can also use that, the reason that I'm calling you, the reason why I'm calling you. So all of these words is how to make the conversation more accurate, and you try to change your style of speaking. Exercise here, we have to check out the exercise number 2, unit 94. For each situation, write sentence with whom more formal and without whom less formal. So if you check the first example, you met a friend, you hadn't seen him for years. More formal, I met a friend whom I hadn't seen for years. Less formal, I met a friend I hadn't seen for years. So I have no clue to put whom here. You can avoid it by less formal. This is the first exercise. The second one, you have to complete the sentences using who, whom, whose, where. The exercise number 3 is very, very important for you to practice and to put the answers here. The first question, we help some people whose car had broken down, same like in the example. A cemetery is a place, maybe a cemetery which people are buried, or where people here. A cemetery is a place where people are buried. This is a place where they buried the people who died. So that's what we have to understand. The last question, how to complete the sentences from your own ideas. That's very complicated for you, but you can take or have a look on it. Thank you for your listening today. I wish to talk to you again by maybe tomorrow. Please keep in touch and try to answer all the questions in the following or in the current 3 units: Unit 92, Unit 93, Unit 94, and it's all about the relative clauses. Next time we will talk about relative clauses number 5 in Unit 95. We will also talk about relative clauses in 96, and we have also to talk about the other points. So next time let's try to discuss these 2 units. I will find to add another. Thank you very much for your listening. We will talk to you again and soon.